Week 13 NFL locks. Let's get into it. Packers at Lions, 1 o'clock window. I think the Lions win by more than 3, so I would take the Lions money line minus 140. I would take Lions minus. We got 3, and we also got minus 2.5. I like a lot. I could definitely see a Lions win by 3, so if we can get them at minus 2.5, I like it. Now, I'm leaning towards the under. Packers have a very good defense. The Lions also have a pretty good defense. The Lions, I know, like to go for it a lot. They're very aggressive. I definitely could see this being a 24-20 game, which is obviously under. I think the Lions cover. I'd pick their money line, and I would take the under. Chiefs at Cowboys. This feels like a playoff game for both teams, and I'm not sure why they only have the Cowboys at 5-5. They're 5-5-1. Regardless, though, I think this also goes under. That's the first thing that sticks out to me is the under, and I would take Chiefs minus 3 as well. That money line's, this money line doesn't look right to me because we've got minus 2.5 at minus 140, 0.5 points, and we're all the way at close to a 2-1. I mean, that doesn't sit right with me. So I would take the minus 3. I do think the Chiefs win relatively comfortably, probably. I would take the under all day. I would take the under all day. Look, this Cowboys team, it gets hot at times. It's pretty streaky. The Chiefs, when they're not playing the elite of the elite quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, etc., Jalen Hurts, well, I know a lot of people won't consider him elite, but in the playoffs he's elite. They really wrench it down on them, and the Chiefs' offense, it's kind of sputtering. I think there's going to be a lot of run plays. It feels like a 26-20 type game, something in the realm of that. So I take the Chiefs minus 3. Minus 4.5 gets into dicey territory. Bengals at Baltimore. Look, this Ravens offense, as a Ravens fan myself, has not looked all that impressive. The offensive line is rough. The run game, that we're not really being all that exotic with RPOs, with the read options, etc., etc. Minus 7 feels like a lot. With Joe Burrow back, it feels like a lot. I probably would not touch this game if I'm being honest. Now, will the Ravens win? Probably. I would be surprised if the Ravens lost this game, but I don't like that 7 number. That 7 number feels like a lot with how fickle this offense has been. Now, the Ravens could put up 40 and really show me a lot of faith in this team. Now, oh boy, and we'll take a little time out break and look at this pillow trick. Has almost no one uses against sleep apnea. Oh boy. If you're bleeding out of your mouth, I'd seek medical attention. Bears at Eagles. Eagles minus 7 coming off that loss to the Cowboys. The Bears came off a impressive win against the Steelers. It was against Mason Rudolph, so it can't be that impressive. But regardless, this plus 7 number feels enticing. Very enticing. Once you take the minus 7 on the Eagles because it's at even money, I really like that plus 7 number. This Eagles offense, it's been mad. Kind of similar to the Ravens. These teams are very talented, but this Eagles offense, it just doesn't get me all that excited. The Bears are very well coached. Caleb Williams is going to make some plays outside of the structure. I'm taking the Bears plus 7. I'm definitely, and I would probably even do a teaser and give myself 8 more points and go Bears plus. I don't know if you'd want to go all the way up to plus 15, but you get the point. I'm very comfortable at plus 7. I'd be even more comfortable at plus 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't see the Eagles blowing them out. I definitely think the Eagles will probably win. I don't see them blowing them out. Niners at Cleveland. Look, this is the classic short week, West Coast to East Coast, 1 o'clock window. This has Browns trap game. It has under 40 written all over it. 17-16, 17-14. Browns is what I'm implying here. So I like Browns plus 225, tied with the under 40.5. I think if the Browns are going to win, it's going to be low scoring. And yeah, I would definitely put those two together and try to get yourself. What would that get you to? Would get you to what, plus 400? Something in the realm of that. Jags at Titans. Look, the Titans suck, no doubt about it. But they got to win some games. Are they really going to finish 1-16? They're going to beat somebody. So at some point, the Titans inevitably have to win. I don't know if it's going to be this week. It might not be this week, but I just wouldn't touch this game. Texans at Colts. I think the Colts win this game pretty comfortably. You know, Texans are getting a little bit of fool's gold with how good their defense is playing. The Colts can run the ball. They can keep it in third and manageable, fourth and short. The Colts won't really allow the Texans to pass rush as much, and the Texans quarterback situation is a mess. I think the Colts roll. I would definitely take minus 4.5 here. And I would probably take, well, I don't know. I wouldn't touch the over-under. This game's tough to bet on. Saints at Dolphins. Probably go Dolphins money line, I guess. Probably won't touch that game. Another game I don't really want to touch. Falcons at Jets. Look, when both the teams suck, anything could happen. I probably lean Jets plus 2.5. You know, you're at home, you get close to a field goal. And I take the over as well. You know, people always associate bad teams with little scoring, but I don't really think it's that much of a 1-to-1 correlation. We already talked about that one. Rams at Panthers. Now, the Panthers have, as of recording this, have not played, so depending on, I think they'll fare decent against the Niners, but probably lose. Panthers plus 10. Look, the Panthers are a very good home football team. We've seen this multiple times. Panthers plus 10. I'm taking that. I'm also taking the plus 500. I don't see a world where they get blown out. I don't see that at all, and I think this number is going to come down. You know, it opened at minus 8.5. I think once they keep this game tonight competitive or win, I think this number is going to creep up to, or I guess creep down to plus 6, plus 7. Cardinals at Bucks. Bucks have to get right. Look, open minus 6. If you can get it at minus 3, I think that's a steal. Are the Buccaneers really going to go on a big skid like this? I don't think so. At home, that's a get right game for them all day. Vikings at Seahawks. Minus 10's a lot. You know, when you got a good coach up there in Minnesota and Kevin O'Connell, when you got Justin Jefferson, I gotta imagine they can keep it within 10.5. You know, you lose by 10 points, you lose 33-23, and you still cover. So I've got to go Minnesota Vikings plus 10.5. Raiders at Chargers. I think the Chargers, well, feel a little bit of a bounce back. That's. I think this is a very solid number. I'm definitely seeing a Chargers win by about 10. Buffalo at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just lost. They should be getting Aaron Rodgers back. Plus 4 is steep for me. Minus 4 is steep for me. Excuse me. With Buffalo, look, I think Buffalo's gonna win, but minus 215. You know, I'm not even getting 2-to-1 odds. I'd probably go Pittsburgh. You know, at home, are they really going to get blown out? Now in the playoffs, yes. In the regular season, no. We got Denver at the Commanders. I think Denver will handle business and they'll win. Yeah, Denver will win. And we have the Giants at New England. I'm pretty sure the New England will take care of business. And we're going to look at futures real quick. Tell you what's a good value. Alrighty. So first thing off the bat, we have the Rams as the leaders, and I don't really agree with that. Look, if you don't have one of the elite quarterbacks, and some people would argue Matthew Stafford is one of the elite quarterbacks, I disagree. I think the elite quarterback camp is Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Allen, and you can probably throw in Hurts, and you're going to say, Hurts over Stafford? Yeah, I think Hurts over Stafford. If you're not going to have that, you need to have a combination of best coach in the NFL, which you could argue the Rams have, top 3 defense. You know, it's got to be elite. It can't just be good. A good kicker, an elite running back, and it's like, you know, that they've got a good defense. They've got probably one of the better coaches, but plus 450, I don't see it at all for them. Especially with there being no guarantee they even win the division. You know, the Eagles at least are gonna get a home playoff game. So I think the Eagles at plus 600 is decent value. I don't think I would touch them though. Now on to the Chiefs at plus 900, giving them about a 12% chance, 11% chance to win the Super Bowl. Look, depending on how the playoffs shake out, if you can have Allen or Jackson miss, and you've also got Burrow miss, the Chiefs having to play a Drake May, a Bo Nix, and a Daniel Jones, I like the chances there. Seahawks plus 1,000, there's no chance the Seahawks can win the Super Bowl. It's not happening. Buffalo plus 1,100, I don't mind it. I think it's a fine value, similar to the Chiefs. Look, if somehow the Chiefs or Bills, one of them probably will miss the playoffs, if we're being totally honest. One of those teams will probably be bumped out. And, Buffalo, look, if they have to go into Pittsburgh and then into Denver and then into New England, I think they could definitely do that. The Detroit Lions at plus 1,100. This is the best value on here. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. Now, there is a question if they even make the playoffs, which, if they miss the playoffs, that's definitely an issue. But I think they make the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with a 1 or a 2 seed. Colts plus 1,100. Look, I was not very high on the Colts until they lost to the Chiefs. And a lot of people are like, why would that help you? I think the Colts showed that they can go into Kansas City, and they won't have to go into Kansas City in the playoffs. They'll be playing at home, but I think they showed they can go toe-to-toe with one of the elite teams. Baltimore Ravens plus 1,100. Once again, kind of the same thing with the Bills and the Chiefs. If you can have a world where potentially both of them miss the playoffs, the Bills and the Chiefs, probably just one of them, it's like you get a home playoff game against the Chargers, and then you go into Indiana. Look, I would take that quarterback battle everywhere. Broncos plus 1,300. If you get the 1 seed, this is a good value. If they don't get the 1 seed, I don't really think the Broncos are going to win 4 playoff games. Excuse me. New England Patriots, once again, if the Broncos or Patriots get the 1 seed, I don't mind it, but I don't really have a lot of faith in either of these teams to beat 3 teams and then make it to the Super Bowl. So I just don't see that happening. Packers, they're a streaky, a Joe Flacco-esque heater. When Joe Flacco went on the heater in 2012, if Love goes on a heater, this defense is probably the best in the NFL, them and the Texans. So it's possible. It's possible for sure. Now on to the teams that aren't projected to make the playoffs. How many teams do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So I guess a few of these teams do have to make the play. Well, yeah, Buccaneers probably will make it, and the Chargers probably will make it. But regardless, you see a steep drop-off once you get past the Packers. The Niners, I don't think there's a path for them. Not that they can't make the playoffs, they definitely could, but I just don't see it. Buccaneers, look, they'll probably get a home playoff game, but I don't see a path for them either. The Chargers, plus 4,000, it's not bad value. And I think if you can get lucky and you can somehow have the best quarterback in the playoffs, and look, if there's a real chance that Jackson misses, the Steelers win the division, there's a real chance that you edge out the Chiefs and that the Texans and Jags end up in the playoffs. And in that case, there's a real argument that Justin Herbert's the best quarterback in the playoffs. And if you've got the best quarterback in the AFC side, then you can make it to the Super Bowl. Texans, I don't see it. The defense is good, but I don't see it. Bears plus 5,000 is pretty good value. They could get the 1 seed. If they beat Philadelphia and then take care of business with the Packers and Lions, there's a real chance they can get it. Jags, there's no way they can go to Super Bowl. Cowboys, there's no way. Pittsburgh, look, I don't think they're going to win it for sure, but at plus 10,000, you have a decent shot at having a home playoff game. I don't even know what I'm talking about. There's no way they could win it. And we'll look at the divisional odds. Telling you what's a good value here. We've got Colts. Look, the Colts play the Texans this week. If the Texans can win, then it's a discussion, but I'm pretty confident the Colts with only 6 weeks left and a 2-game lead. I'm pretty confident the Colts are going to take that one, unless they just completely implode. Ravens minus 425. Look, I'm a Ravens fan, as you guys know. These are not good odds. These are not good odds at all. The Steelers play the Ravens twice. And look, if the Steelers sweep, they will win the division. If they split, it gets interesting. It gets interesting for sure. We got Denver minus 300. Yeah, once again, similar with the Colts, it would have to be an implosion of all implosions for the Denver Broncos to miss. And we've got New England, who, yeah, they're gonna, unless the Bills run the table, probably even still if the Bills run the table, they're not gonna get it. The NFC North is very interesting. We don't have a favorite. Well, I guess we have an odds-off favorite of the Packers, but plus 130, we've got Lions plus 150, we got Bears plus 300. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, all these teams play each other. I don't really see why the Packers are plus. I would probably assume the Lions should be favored. Now, these two teams play. So I think once the Lions beat the Packers, if they do, I think the Lions should be bumped up to probably minus 110. Eagles are winning their division. I mean, I do think the Rams will win it, but I like the value here for sure. And same thing here. The Panthers. The Panthers could definitely win this division. So I would like the Panthers value here. I'd like the Niners value here.